Hi, I'm Brandon. I love The Way Home.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I watched The Way Home.
I'm Dan. I also watched The Way Home.
Oh, come on, guys.
And this is the Deck
Deck
the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Way Home.
I got to be honest.
Episode 8.
I'm concerned that you are not going to have any, like, we're barely in London.
We
you
went
keep
to
coming
London
back.
for a family trip, and I just was like, guys, I've said this for years, work's more important than family. That is something that I've always, that was something that, my wife knew when she met me, is work is so much more important than family. And so
Well, can
my
I ask you
kids
this,
know
though,
it.
'cause-
Everybody that meets me, I think the takeaway is he's a workaholic.
But your family's flying back tonight. Are you going to, when we get done here, are
I'm
you
gonna go
popping back?
I'm going to pop back over so I can fly. Because, flying with kids is difficult. I want to be.
Yes, of course, you want to be
there for
there.
the tough stuff. Of course. Yeah.
This is amazing.
Those are the memories.
Yeah, those were the memories are made. Have I missed everything? Yeah, but
You saw the clock.
Worked. Yeah, the clock. Yeah, the big wheel.
And Wonka.
I pipped to a few people.
You pip.
I got a pint of lager at a pub. I feel like that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
London doesn't have a lot of history in it.
No.
Those 18 hours you were there were sick.
They were unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I got to know a lot of people on flights. I spent a lot of time on flights.
Yeah, who's your favorite person you met?
Terrell.
Terrell.
Yeah.
What was Terrell's deal? Is Terrell from London or is he from stateside?
Terrell is from London.
Great.
They are chimney sweep.
Really?
Yeah, they still have those in London. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Like a Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, Terrell just could get on the plane, and for some reason, I saw Terrell on multiple planes, which was weird.
Interesting. Terrell was kind of
Just
on your
same schedule.
Just soot all over the place, and nobody wanted to sit near him. And I'd be like, I'll sit with Terrell. Terrell's lived a life.
So on your particular flight,
Yeah.
there are people that no one wants to sit by, and that's just is how it goes.
Yeah.
And so you get it's
Yeah.
just you did
It's
you
a
fly
private,
Southwest?
It's a private jet. It's a private jet. Yeah. And Terrell is. We shared.
jet?
We bought a ticket. We shared the private. I can't really get into it. Yeah.
Oh, it's like Groupon, but for a private
There's
jet.
no way I could possibly afford to fly commercial back and forth every day to record this show. I got a private jet guy.
Yeah, but
of
you
course.
you gotta share the private jet
With Terrell.
with
Terrell.
strangers.
Little sooty Terrell.
Is he sooty? So the chimney sweep is mid soot,
I don't know. I just know there's a lot of soot involved. It was soot heavy.
but
I don't,
is he sooty?
yeah,
On the jet.
He shows up, just soot, just like
no
when
one
he
wants to
sits
sit
down,
by
just
him.
Soot, just like
How many people are you
That's why he
sharing the
got the
jet
jet.
with?
the 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I'm glad you had a good
We
time,
did
Dan.
that.
Welcome
Great.
back.
Yeah, no, it's been good. London's been great, but I'm happy to be here because work is so important.
Speaking of a good time, Ryan, I have not for the past week or so stopped hearing about NSYNC.
Was it all you ever wanted, Ryan?
What?
Oh, but Dan, that was really. See, Dan, you claim you only know 3 songs, yet you're ready to whip out the references at the uncanny rate.
We got to
of
get moving
no
because in 30 minutes, I got to
gotta
say
be-
bye.
bye.
We got to get moving. Yeah.
Hey, is Terrell an NSYNC fan? Something,
No, more
something
of
to
a
think about on the
Backstreet
right back.
Boys. More of a Backstreet Boys guy. For sure.
I will say this episode that we're getting ready to talk about is really tearing up my heart.
Nicely done. Yeah.
Okay, I think we did it all. I think we did.
One of us is gonna not like this episode. It's gonna be me.
That's funny. Anyway, what's going on with it?
So that's 4 songs. Thank you very much.
They did a thing.
Anyway, what's going on? Maybe we'd be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. No, NSYNC reunited. I mean, I guess it's about almost 7 days old now. But NSYNC reunited at Timberlake show because his album came out on Friday.
Of course.
And there's an NSYNC song on there, as we all know. Dan's super interested.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a big deal. I mean, they did a little medley. They performed a new song. Brand, I think you'll like the new song better than the Troll song.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, listen, I think 2025 30th anniversary of the group, I think we get the tour.
Wow.
I think that's what's happening.
25 or 30th. Yeah. When's 25 coming up?
No. 2025
I thought
is
you
the
went
30th.
25 or 30th anniversary of the tour. I was like,
Can we get Terrell on here?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Terrell and I have a bond, so that's not something to make fun of.
But the thing is if it wasn't for folks like you that were getting the streams up for this small indie band, this tour would never happen. Yeah. And I think
I will say my work on the Trolls 3 song release, where I created the playlist where every 4 songs was the NSYNC song, I do think changed it.
What do you do aside from being on this show? Do you do anything that's like equivalent of that to help support your friends, or is it just strangers that you don't know that you add to playlists every 4 songs?
Oh, a little column A, a little column B.
Yeah. Can I give you my hot take? The song Better Place by NSYNC, which I've now heard because of Trolls Band Together, and my kids love the soundtrack. I've heard it no less than 100 times. There's another song on that Trolls soundtrack that Timberlake features on called Perfect Harmony, but it's him and the Brozone band that they're getting together. That song is better than Better Place. So
fair enough.
Fair enough. It's better. And I wish that would have been the song that NSYNC would have used to come back instead of Better Place. They could have let Better Place for Brozone. It's better.
I think Bran hit the nail on the head. When we were talking about this months ago, when it was all first happening, that maybe the Trolls thing wasn't the best rollout of the NSYNC reunion, but we've course corrected.
Yeah.
We're here now. Can I give you a hot take real quick? Some more Trolls 3 content because I saw the film.
Yeah.
Baby Branch, cool character. Adult Branch, total douche.
Yeah, that's a take.
You heard it here first, everybody.
Dude, my kids just care about Tiny Diamond. They don't care about anything else in those movies. Yeah. They're like, when's Tiny Diamond coming on screen?
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but the film was totally fine. But I was just like, man, this Timberlake character is a bit of a jerk. Like, I didn't like him at all.
Yeah, he is a little bit of a jerk. But he's mistreated by his brothers. Come on, man. Like, you got to understand where people come from.
Bran, hit the recap for Trolls 3 band together.
My last hot take on Trolls is Trolls 2 is the best one. That is my last. That's my absolute.
2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3.
2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1.
Wow.
In that order. Yes.
2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1. 1 being the worst of the Trolls films. Yes.
I can't wait till we rank the Star Wars flicks and you guys just hate my take.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Fourth Friday's coming your way at some point.
And I just want to say this really quickly. That it never, on a regular basis, Ryan, I think about how you rank the third Mighty Ducks as the best.
It is something that
no, second best.
2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1. Yeah, guys. When's the last time you watched?
I feel like we have audio of him saying 3, 2, 1.
I felt like it too.
You won't find it. You won't find it. It doesn't. Much like Cat, I've checked the archives. Have we done D3? Take it to the tape.
We haven't. I did just watch Mighty Ducks 1 last week, and I'm making my way through them.
It's 2, 1, 3. If you're saying it's 2, 3, 1.
But see, Dan, I guarantee you haven't watched it probably, 2 decades?
Easy. Yes, easily. 3, I've watched Mighty Ducks 2 in the last 2 decades. I've not watched Mighty Ducks 1 or 3 in the last 2 decades.
I've watched Mighty Ducks 2 in the last 2 weeks. I mean,
it's a masterpiece.
What a
masterpiece. Let's go shake their hands.
I feel like then we've just it's a miscarriage of justice, because in my head, I always think there couldn't be a better person than Ryan Pappolla. And then I remember that he thinks D3 is the best Mighty Ducks. And I'm like, no, that guy's just...
Okay. All right. Good. Because we've been holding it against you.
Yeah.
And like, we actually have like a lot of, there's a lot of possibilities with you and Deck the Homework. And we've kind of been like, maybe not, because
we have a pro-cons list, and the con just says D3 question mark. Yeah. I bet you there's a double-decker out there that could find some audio that maybe says D3. He says D3 is the best one. I think he said it.
How about on the flight home later tonight?
Later tonight, yes.
You save D3 on your Disney Plus and you watch it on the flight home?
By the way, I like that Dan isn't going to watch it on the flight back there later tonight without his.
Oh, you know what? That actually makes more sense. On one of the flights,
to get a new judgment, I'd have to watch 1 and 3. Right? Because I've not seen either in 2 decades. His point is 1 doesn't hold up like you think it is.
Brand, did you leave D1 thinking excellent film?
I left D1.
Gosh, I was like 8 or 9 when that movie came out, and I left thinking excellent film.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
No, I still think it's a good movie.
That movie came out before y'all were born, did it not?
I mean,
I think I was.
My takeaways
Yeah.
rewatching D1 is that the Flying V is. They should have just push through. Like, this is hockey. It's a physical sport. Like, you can.
They figure it out by D3.
They do figure it out by D3. The triple D, an overrated move.
One of the most overrated
it's an overrated move.
Well, and D2, it's absolutely overrated because like homeboy triple dekes, but then stops.
That's right.
Yeah,
like it eliminating the entire purpose of the triple deke.
But also,
you've got Fulton, you've got Bombay, you got a ragtag bunch of kids.
Oh no, D2 is a master.
My biggest takeaway from D1 though is just how crazy the character of Hans is. That we had a full movie without Hans, and the writer of D1 said, can I just throw one more thing at you? What if we add this really complicated character named Hans?
He'll get 10 lines, old German character.
And let's just hope no one asks questions about him and like what his backstory is and all of that. Like, because that would get muddy. Let's just put him in there, and then it'll be great. And we love Hans.
Does anyone miss Hans in D2? No. I'm a big Jan guy.
No one misses Hans.
Nobody misses Hans.
Yeah.
A really weird character to add to that movie that's already pretty full of characters.
Without question. Also, D1 a bit more of an edgier film of the three. Like, definitely has like there's a blue balls joke. It's a little
it is.
Yeah. No, they're like, listen, Bombay in this kids movie he's drunk driving.
Yes.
Like this like it's all.
And they're like, you should be in for your punishment.
Yeah, for your. It's pretty wild, that movie. Anyway, let's talk about The Way Home. Let's jump back.
We did it. Smooth sailing here.
Let's jump back in the pond. Let's jump back in the pond.
We apologize, everyone.
Lose yourself
in the music, the moment. The song's not in the episode though. They lost it.
That was the name of this episode.
Lose yourself.
Oh, this is just another reason to be down on the season. They're just doing whatever they want.
Like they're just making fun of us now. They're asking for us to say The Way Home sucks.
Oh boy. Originally aired on March 17th, 2024, and it went a little something like this. The episode kicks off with Jacob talking.
What?
Jacob and Kat are talking.
He didn't talk last episode. He said Kat. I don't know if you heard him.
So Jacob is talking about how this had all happened. He remembers falling into the pond. He remembers the woods. Kat and Jacob are talking out by the water, and she asked him if he remembers, telling them when he first showed up, like who he was and how he came there and what they did with his clothes. And he's like, I don't remember any of that. And I don't even know what to believe. I don't even know what to believe anymore. She asks about drawing their symbol on the table, and he's like, I was a kid. Who knows why I did that? Thomas and Susanna show up, and they're like, look at you. And he's like, look at me. Kat's like, this has been fun. I got to go. See you later, alligator. Jacob says, why don't you come find me sooner? Which is not what you say back. It's in a while, crocodile.
After a while, crocodile. You say in a while.
Yeah, you say after a while.
I've heard it both ways.
Aaron, tiebreaker?
I say in a while.
Yeah! Dan's a loser!
This is just New England. This is New England.
Go back to London, you loser.
That's right.
Terrell would never talk to me like this.
Terrell
would never talk to me like this, ever.
Yeah, you go. How about you go get sooty with your friends?
Getting sooty with it.
That's exactly right.
No.
She tells Thomas that she's going to be back soon, but the pond is wild. It could be days. It could be months. It could be years. Thomas promises to keep him safe until she's back. They have a little bit of a moment there. Kat shows back up into the present, soaking wet. Della's like, I don't even want to know.
We can talk about it later, which means never.
She tells Elliot and Alice that Jacob is safe, alive, still recovering. She tells Elliot that Thomas is going to help keep him safe, and Elliot is like, who's this Thomas? Immediately jealous of a guy named Thomas that he knows nothing about. Nick shows up and is trying to convince Elliot to tear down a wall in his house, and in the process discovers finds the time travel journal but he doesn't open it up, and so he doesn't really know what it is. But he's like, "Oh, this silly guy," because it's like
got the school book.
School book, yeah, that's exactly right. Noah shows up and tells Alice, "Hey, sorry about the kiss," and Alice is like, "Let's just blame the Backstreet Boys," and I think that's more than fair.
Yeah, I think we should
we've all
blame
been
them
there
regularly.
Evelyn Goodwin tells Dell that she wants to buy the land, and that would include the pond.
The pond.
And when Kat finds this out, she's like, "You can't do that. You can't get rid of the pond." And Dell's like, "I can do whatever I want to. It's my land." And also, I still feel indebted to her about what happened back in 2007. Most people would have left us after what happened there. She didn't. She stuck by my sides. Alice is hearing all of this happening, and after Kat leaves, she comes out and asks Dell what happened in 2007. And she also said, "I'm sorry for 2004."
Of course. Yeah.
And she says,
Ruben
"Hey,
Studders.
you don't have..."
Not R.I.P., obviously.
No.
He's alive.
Totally alive.
That's right.
And
I was invisible.
what would you do?
I would just watch you in... I can't even finish it.
In your
I
room?
would never. But if Clay Aiken was invisible, he would just watch you in
Yeah.
your room.
That's exactly
That's
right.
what he'd do.
She asked about 2007. Dell's like, "You don't need to worry about that." But here is a fun tidbit for you. It is the reason why me and your mom didn't talk for 17 years. And then Dell just leaves, just walks right off after sharing that. Alice, not wanting to wait for answers about what actually happened, decides now is the time to go back in time. It's time to dive back into that pond. When she comes out, she sees Dell and Kat arguing, and we see that that Dell is trying to sell the house, the farm, everything. The for sale sign is out, and that is why Kat is upset. She sees Elliot, and he's like, "What are you doing here? It's been 5 years. You can tell by my peach fuzz." When Kat shows up...
What are you doing in my tree house?
That's exactly right. When Kat shows up, he tells Alice to hide because she hasn't aged a day. She doesn't have any peach fuzz. How would we know that she's any older?
Can't even grow it.
No. Kat gets mad at Elliot for not telling her that Dell was selling the house. In present day, Elliot, Kat, Monica, and Nick, they're on a ghost tour. And Kat can't help but correct the tour guide about the White Witch. And it's at this point that she's like, "Oh yeah, Elliot, I'm the White Witch." It's a whole thing. Back in 2007, Kat convinces Elliot that they should throw a party at the Lingermore estate because he's watching the house. And he's like, "Well, would that include Brady?" And she's like, "Oh, I left Brady." And he's like, "Yes, we should party. We should party." In present day, Kat and Elliot are arguing because she wanted to talk to Alice before she went back to 2007. Obviously, she didn't get to do that, seeing as how she's never around. Nick and Monica come out and ask if they want to all go get a drink, and Elliot says, "Come back to my place. It'll be fun." Alice is sneaking around the party, which turned into an absolute rager thanks to a rogue Facebook invitation fiasco. She sees Nick. They do a weird thing where they're looking at each other through like a gate almost. I don't even really know what it is.
Looking glass.
A looking glass. They are looking at each other. He like sticks his hand out. They touch hands, and he decides, "Well, now I'm going to go around the corner here and get to you." But in that time, she ran away. And he's like, "Whoa, that was crazy, huh?" When she runs away, she finds Kat and Elliot talking privately, and she listens in as Kat is talking about leaving Brady and that she got into this graduate school, and they decide they're going to be wild and crazy kids, and they're going to go to London together.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, you love it. They met Terrell. They know Terrell. And he's like, "I would love to go with you. I will do anything to be around you. I'm going to shut this party down. You go pack. I'll pick you up at midnight. We'll catch that 1 a.m. flight to London. It's going to be dynamite."
Midnight sharp.
Sam and Dell in present day are having a drink together. He once again offers her money. This time, "Hey, I heard about your farm program, Farm for Kids,
Yeah.
and I would like to help fund that." She once again turns down perfectly good money, even though she is desperately in need of some money. Present day, Elliot and Kat are having a fun night. They're listening to music. That is until Elliot asks about Thomas. Hey, what's going on between you and Thomas? She's like, nothing's going on between me and Thomas. And she gets mad and she goes outside. Back at the Rager, Brady shows up, and that's not good. Alice confronts Elliot, and she's like, hey, you can't run away with my mom. You're not supposed to be a part of her life like that. Brady's my dad. They need to end up together. You need to help make sure that happens, or else I guess I'm going to disappear, say cheese, and die.
Back to
and
the future, even.
He's like, watch me. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to run away with her.
Watch me.
That's exactly right. Present day, Elliot comes outside to talk to Kat. They argue a little bit. They talk about how the timing's never right with them. And he's like, screw timing. And he goes and he kisses her. Big kisses. Inside, Nick is on the phone with his girlfriend. Remember, they had broken, or fiance, they had broken up. Claire Bear. And they decide they're going to get together and talk things out. They are going to meet at a place, and he needs to write down where they're going to meet.
Down that place.
And so he pulls out the time travel log to write down that location. And it's at this point that he begins to read the time travel log. And he is like, WTF. He storms outside, holds it up, and says, how do you explain this? What is this? Explain yourself. Finally, back at the party, Brady and Kat are arguing. Elliot says, hey, man, she wants you to leave. Brady is like, nah, man, I'm not leaving. They start to fight. In the midst of this fight, Kat ends up getting hit. She falls face down in the fountain. And blood is coming from her head, and we're like, uh-oh. And that, my friends, was The Way Home. Lose Yourself. Season 4, 2, 1, March 17th.
Mom spaghetti.
We're going to be right back. We're going to break this episode down with 4 segments here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about The Way Home, Season 2, Episode 8.
Getting real, Bran.
It sure is. It sure is.
2 more.
Lot to talk about today. We had actual conversations between Kat and Jacob. We had what happened in 07. We've got a lot. Let's share our thoughts on it. We're going to start with the hot take. It is where we share exactly how we felt about this movie, this episode. Ryan, what'd you think about The Way Home, Season 2, Episode 8?
Is it possible to have this be the episode I enjoyed the most this season, but think it's the worst?
Yes.
Is that possible?
As well articulated as it could possibly be. This is so well done. I couldn't click it into place till you just said it. Yes.
Thanks, Dan. So there's a bunch of reasons for that, right? It felt jarring and convenient that all of a sudden we were just in 2007, yep. Right? And now here's where I'm like, listen, because I know some people have been tough on us, and I understand some people just saying, hey, we're enjoying this thing. Don't bash on this thing that we're enjoying, especially when Ryan and Bran think Jingle All the Way is a masterpiece. Yeah. Right?
Wait, has somebody brought that up?
No, but I think that's a fair argument.
It's not a fair argument. It's not. I'm not a pervert.
Dude, you can't say that. You're like Clay Aiken in The Invisible situation.
So here's where I would admit to being hypocritical, but I want to make it. I want to expand on why I think I'm right. I loved that we were not in 1814 for more than 2 minutes.
A little trip.
But after 18 episodes of telling us that the most important thing that can happen is that we find Jacob, for as much as I've hated 1814, it's insane to only spend 2 minutes in 1814, and it's worse from a character narrative perspective for Kat to say, finding Jacob is the most, I'm going to ruin my life to find Jacob, and then say, you know what, one tough conversation.
I gotta get going.
Maybe I'll come back episode 9, you know, like it's those things don't work. And on top of that, there still was just a lot of stuff I don't care about. Kat and Jacob not being on the same page, I think, is a miss. They should have had a big embrace, and I know maybe we're saving that for Del, but we have problems with Del doing that with Jacob because it doesn't make sense narratively. Kat and Thomas, don't care. Selling the land to a Goodwin, don't care. And then the ending of the episode, I think, is interesting, but we know Kat's going to live because this show exists.
Yes!
I cede my time. I cede my time.
You're crushing it. Just fan the flames over there. Pappolla just on fire this morning.
I think it's interesting. 5 minutes into this episode, we leave 1814, and from then on, I'm back, baby. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And when we get to the end of this episode and we get the one Nick finding out about the time travel, that was the first time this season that I was like, yeah, I was excited. Something that made me get real excited. And then the fight. You're right. I mean, we know she lives, obviously, but clearly there's a lot of stuff that stems from like what is going to happen, because Kat gets hit, and that's the reason why Del doesn't talk to her for a long time. No, there's got to be something else that we find out about what happened there that would lead to that type of missed relationship between a mother and her daughter. So I don't know what else is to come, but I do know that for me, this was the most exciting episode. And does it have anything to do with the fact that we were in 1814 for less than 5 minutes?
Once the title card hits, I think that was it.
Yes, right? Yes, it has almost everything to do with that. I really enjoyed this episode, and it is exciting for me to once again see something happen in the show and go, oh yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back in this nice warm pocket of the way home. Dano?
Sometimes people probably listen to this show and they think that we are like caricatures of ourselves. And sometimes we are. I would hope that you know that about me from time to time. What you need to know about my buddy Brandon Gray is that he is like this in virtually every aspect of life. Just give him one little morsel of hope that things aren't as bad as he thinks they are, and he will be all in. He is an eternal, forever optimist, and for that, I'm thankful to have him as a friend, and also have the enviable job of telling him more than I would like to that he's wrong. And that is the case in this particular episode. This episode is just completely off the rails. It is... I feel bad for the writers and creators because they are in a trap of their own making, and they don't know that they're in it. And it's very, very, it's tough. Was it the most entertaining? Did it go by the quickest? Yes. It's the first time all season that I was like how I was for almost every episode last season, which was, man, 42 minutes is over already. That did happen. And Ryan just crushed it with his take. To have the big moment between Kat and Jake be reduced to, I got to get going, is one of the more egregious mistakes the show's ever made, if not the most egregious mistake it's ever made. You have put us through so much for you to go, oh, he has a life here and he's mad at you. No crap. Of course he is. You got to power through there. Leaving again may re-emphasize that he was right. But you're like, I don't want to, dinner's at, I got to get, nothing I can do. And then this show has become a show of people just going, we can't have that conversation right now. That's what it is. Kat comes back. How is she not screaming from the rooftops? Mom, I found your son. I found your son. He's alive. You can go see your son. Are you kidding me right now? If my son was lost and my other son didn't tell me immediately, oh my goodness, we can't do that. I got to take Alice to school. Did they just spin a Mad Lib wheel? Del can't hear about her long lost son because she has to bring apples to Terrell. What in the world are we?
Terrell's
a big Way Home fan. I don't know if you know. Apple fan too.
Really?
So you lose all credibility with me. Yes, would I rather be dealing with 07? Yes, 1,000 times yes. But you put in the time. You put in the work. You got them back together. How do you do this? Do you just go, well, they can't talk about it right now because Del has to take Alice to school? I couldn't believe it. And then, guys, We can't change the past. They've already established you can't change the past. How many times are we going to learn that lesson? Alice wandering around like, maybe I won't exist. Have you never traveled through time, through the pond before? Guys, they've established you can't change the past. And so what's happening now is she's just getting a really visceral history lesson. Like, she's playing a part in her own history, but she's going to exist. She's going to exist. Next season, there'll be something else we haven't heard of, apparently. Next season will be like, well, I can't believe you brought up the farm tornado of 2009. What? Why have we not heard of this yet? And so Alice can go back and look at the farm tornado in 2009 and be like, I thought Canada was too cold for these. And then go back home. It is... And so, yes, do we get Nick finding this thing at the end of the episode? Did it feel like season 1 for a brief moment? Yes. But if you zoom out at all, the show got worse this week. It got worse this week. And that is so unfortunate and so disheartening for someone that wants the show to be good. That's all I got.
One other quick thing, Dan, that just jogged my memory. Sorry, I know we gotta
you're
move
good.
on. But also, this is the second time they've fake killed Kat this season. The premiere, and like we did this 7 weeks ago. Like, and it's like, so I don't know. I kind of feel like we're narratively bankrupt in a way there too.
Yeah.
It's just,
we got nothing.
Yeah.
The whole party, like, for how often we heard about what it was, and we'll get to this in the wait what it wasn't nearly as bad as what we'd heard. Like, it just wasn't.
She hit her head.
Yeah.
We don't know, though. We don't know what's going on post what we see. There could be more.
But we know how it ends up. We know where everyone is in 2024.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that it can't be like...
I know she's not going to die, but what if it turns...
Like,
what if
Elliot
someone...
apologizing to Alice in modern day, he's not apologizing for something we've not seen yet. He's apologizing for trying to get Kat to run away with him. That was the big thing. Alice, we'll get to it in the wait what. I'll hold it. We'll get to the wait what. Yeah.
Well, let's get to all the feels. And by the way, I just want everyone to know, all the way home fans out there, your boy Bran has your back.
Yeah.
I'm back, and it's good to be home. And so everybody in the everyone in the comments,
all those homies out there,
all the homies in the comments on today's social media post, just say welcome back, Bran. Okay, just say that, and then we'll be good to go. All the feels is where we talk about what in this episode gave us feels. Ryan.
So since I 100% know what Bran's all the feels is, I will skip what my all the feels was and say that I will focus on the music of this episode, but not the song I would have focused on if I hosted this show with like Brian Harold or someone. But they did also play one of the few Fall Out Boy songs I really like. That chorus. That chorus from Thanks for the Memories really slaps.
One of the few Fall Out Boys. I think you feel about Fall Out Boy like I feel about Paramore. They got 3 or 4 decent ones.
Listen, Dan, Paramore might not even come up.
Yes, thank you. Good. That's rightfully so.
Yeah, but I do quite like that
Fall Out Boy song. 2 dozen great songs. I'm sorry, 2 dozen. Yeah. 2 dozen.
2 dozen?
2 dozen. 2 dozen.
Oh my sugar, we're going down swinging at Bramblefest with takes
2
like
dozen
those.
Great songs.
I 2 dozen. Good Lord. Oh my.
If I read you the titles, we'd be out of time because they're that long. There's nothing I could do.
True. That.
2 dozen. Garth Brooks and Fall Out Boy. Who knew?
Oh, Garth Brooks has maybe, it's not Billy Joel territory. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we're 2 dozen great songs. I don't know what you want from me.
Fair. I'm flabbergasted. Bran, go talk about Haley Williams.
The album Fall Out Boy released last year has like a half dozen on it. It's by itself.
They're the Fire, right? The Fire.
Yes.
That's them?
Yeah. Light them up. Yeah.
Good tune. Good tune.
My songs Know What You Did in the Dark is the name of that one. Yeah. That's a great That's a great track.
Dan, you dropped
I got it. Thank you.
Paramore's.
What about now? What happened there?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Ryan, how great's Paramore?
wait, Haley Williams, what a talent! Misery Business. I was when they were playing it during this episode. I was like, I'm hard pressed to think of a better first single for any band. I'm not saying it's the greatest of all time, but I'm saying you won't find anyone who had a better single than first single than Misery Business. It's great. It's a great song.
Band, great moment. If you would have told me at the beginning of this season, hey, we're going to get not one but two Paramore songs this season. I would have said best season ever. so clearly, like, probably not the way to make bets. But boy, howdy, that song hits, it slaps, and maybe did that song maybe cloud the way I saw this episode? No, this episode was awesome. Had nothing to do with that, but it didn't hurt. Dan?
Yeah, mine's also musical related. You named an episode "Lose Yourself." I know that we've not always played the song that the episode title is, but "Lose Yourself" is a generational track. Like, it is more important than either Paramore's song in this episode or Fall Out Boy's song in this episode by a mile. You just can't do this. You can't throw out that track and us not get a hint of it. Nothing. That's a big track. You can't. Last week, before we'd seen the episode, Erin saw the episode name and she was like, "If they don't play Lose Yourself, if they don't play Lose Yourself," and I knew they weren't going to play it, and somehow I was still upset. So yeah, not all winners on the music front, unfortunately.
We tried to get Marshall for the pod. He had things going on.
Last minute bail.
Big fan though.
Oh, huge fan.
Yeah.
Loves the show, loves the pod.
That's exactly right.
He also thinks The Way Home's down this year. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, he's down on it.
Is that why you didn't give him the song?
That's probably, he was like, no. Oh, you could have had it for free, but now.
I wonder if Haley's a fan. Maybe did we get a 2-for-1 deal because Haley's a fan of The Way Home? I don't know.
Oh, wow. Let's get Haley.
Come on.
All right. Generational talent.
Haley Williams, you're exactly right about that. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the Wait What and the Sink or Swim here on Deck the Hallmark. I got it, guys. You already on your way home?
I wasn't ready. I had just swallowed some water.
Right.
And Deck the Hallmark.
You went with the full-throated confidence of someone that had other people that were going to say this with him.
I did.
And you were like, Deck the Hallmark. No, I'm on my own here. It's like when you start the third stanza of a hymn and everybody else is waiting for that next measure. Yeah. You've been there.
I sure have.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Wait What. It's where we talk about what in this episode made us go, wait, what? Ryan.
All right, thanks, Brent. Was there any reason given? Thank you, Haley. Was any reason given as to why Alice and Noah are regretful of this kiss, other than just that they're like they're both into each other?
It was just too soon, you know? Sometimes when you're into each other
and you're going to do this where you bring your briefcase out for every single wait, what, or complaint, we're going to be here all day.
No, I'm just saying, as somebody who has kissed a lot of women, so, sometimes you fall into one and you're like, hey, we clearly dig each other, but it was too soon. It was too soon for that.
Sometimes you fall into one.
Yeah, sometimes you fall into one and then you're like, oh, man, did we make a mistake? We haven't even had to define the relationship talk. We slid right into a kiss. Oh. And so maybe it just felt like it was too soon. And just to be clear, I've never kissed anyone.
You definitely have a full DTR before a first kiss. Always. Always.
Man, the show about Bran and youth group is going to be sick.
Gonna be great. But to your point, Ryan, it's a great wait, what, because they're them wanting to center on this one aspect of the story. The way they write off these other aspects are just like, well, we can't deal with this right now.
Yeah, we gotta wait. Yeah,
I gotta take Alice to school. The kiss didn't matter. Jacob is mad. Let's move to the thing we want to talk about.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. I got a few more. At what age, and this is more of a show thing than a narrative thing, at what age in the past do young Kat and Elliot start to look like adult Kat? Because they're in their mid-20s here.
Yeah.
And they're not, those actors, I don't think, are in their mid-20s. No. They look like they're 19 or 21 years old, somewhere in there. So
it was an interesting choice to make it such a leap to 2007. Knowing who you have as the cast for the early 2000s and knowing that's why leap that far? Why leap that far into the future?
So that's a mistake. But also there's nothing the pawn can take her back further. The pawn could actually take her back to before, to 2001 or 1995, right?
Yes.
So if they wanted to have other stories with young Elliot and young Kat, they could do that without moving forward in time, theoretically.
Well, to that point, and sorry if this is what you're saying, I'm just not understanding. Can Alice now no longer go to 2002 to 2006?
No, I think she can still go there.
I think she's still could.
Okay.
We don't know for sure, but
right. I mean, because I was iffy on that.
Yeah, we don't know.
She could keep showing up and just create copies of herself. So you show up to a time she's already in. I don't think she could do
well,
that.
like that.
So yes, she for sure could because there's presidents here. Kat.
There are presidents?
There's presidents.
Wow.
President. I think at the time.
I know what you're saying.
Grover
I think at
Cleveland?
the time Bush. So no, yeah, probably.
Yes.
So went back,
yes.
and Kat was responsible, obviously, for the death of her dad. She's gone back in time to there, and also back in time to 1918. So you can continue.
1918.
1819.
1814 took a little trip.
1814.
Yes.
Took
So
a
you
little trip.
could. So you could. Alice could.
Yes.
Go back
That's
further
right. And watch it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are presidents.
There's presidents.
There's so, sure, all of us had some variation of this ill-advised last second trip to England. But my big thing is, forget that there's not going to be a flight to England at this hour of night with no notice, and that it wouldn't be booked. Like
from the middle of Canada,
right? From the middle of Canada, but it's also at the earliest. At the earliest, it's already like 9:30 at night, probably later. He gives a 12 o'clock dead. Like, dude, you're not going to have time to pack, much less get to the airport. Like, it was just stupid. And they're not, again, they're not 19 years old. In my mid-20s, I thought it was a bad idea to, like, leave my apartment for any given stretch of time, much less, like, you know, go to England on a whim, you know?
Yeah.
And then last one, Nick writes down this address in Elliot's book, and I get it. We got it. It was electric. It made Bran take his wedding ring off. It was awesome, right?
that's
but
good
like,
lecture.
but like you know, forget the fact that it's like, all right, we're but like he had his cell phone in his hand.
Yes.
He didn't need a pen. And, like, forget the fact that he probably could have just like, if Dan told me right now I'm gonna be on Elm Street, I'd be like, got it.
Yes.
Like, but like if you need to write it down. You have a supercomputer in your
It's
hand.
a huge wait. What?
Yeah.
No
How complicated
When is the last time
location?
when's the last time you've been on a phone looking for a pen and paper? I'm sure it happens occasionally, but for one, like, it's not like she's like, hey, I need you to pick up 10 things from the store. She's like, we're gonna meet at Bucktown's on 26.
I love Bucktown's.
All right, you either know where Bucktown's on 26 is, or you know Bucktown's on 26, and then and you know what? If you forget, you just text her. That's all you do. It's 2024.
True that, but also if you need to write it down, like, you know, this has happened with me and you two on the phone. Like, all right, 1 second, I put the phone on speaker, and now I can use the applications that let me write things down.
You just get the Notes app out, you're good to go. That's it.
Or Care Bear can just text him the address, and then we've cut out the middleman.
All of it. Any way other than, hey, dig through someone else's house for a pen and paper.
They are all, these are all good, better options than what he
Bran
did.
loves the show, though.
But I love it.
He loves it. He
in.
goes airtight.
Yes.
We're back, baby. We're back.
Are you good?
That was it for me, Bran. Go get him. Haley Williams.
Let's talk about clothes. Listen, you can't come back from the pond soaking wet in your jeans. I'm not just, again.
If
and
you're
just
counting at home, that is 18 episodes in a row.
And just start sitting on couches, hugging people. You gotta, your first priority needs to be, I need to get out of these wet clothes. Does no one else live this way? Am I the only one that doesn't want to just dwell in the wetness of clothes?
No one likes being damp.
Last week.
No one likes being damp. Thank you.
Last week, I defended your use of jeans. This week, I'm going to say the opposite, which is, had I found Jacob and talked to him and knew there was a way for my mother to see her child again, I would disregard my discomfort to tell her immediately.
Well, no, 100%. That's not my problem. My problem is after that conversation, she then goes, has a conversation.
You said first priority. Second priority.
Okay, fine. Second priority.
After that, I got to go change.
Yes.
Then we'll go to the
She
pond.
then goes and has a conversation at Elliot, sitting on the couch again,
that was
hugging
the one that
Nick.
that was bad. That was real bad.
Listen, the biggest takeaway in this episode is I'm just thrilled that Elliot still has a job. Up until this point in season 2, I wasn't sure what he was doing all day. We see a lot of him leaning against his column of his front porch, drinking coffee, a lot of him just being at his house. It's just good to know that
he's still teaching.
He still has
on
a
the
job,
occasion.
and that's exciting.
School only happens occasionally.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
He does have a free period, and that's great. A free period to go home and do whatever you want to, and it's fine.
It's nice.
Listen. I'm not a dance master, despite what a lot of people have spread rumors about for me. But you can't dance battle to Muse. I like Muse. I like Muse fine. But it's not dance battle music. It's just not. You should have put on something. There's lots of other music from the mid-2000s that you could have danced to.
Yeah, a ton.
1-2 Step.
1-2 Step would be great.
There's even Paramore songs that I think could have fit the bill.
Sure, not Muse. This is just a little thing, and I don't know if anybody else cares about this, but they had adult Elliot and Kat at such a distance to where when he did decide to kiss, there wasn't enough room between them to go into a full run. So he just kind of does this little cute little shuffle. Yeah, I just thought it was a really funny
shuffle.
way.
Yeah, weird
It
shuffle.
was very funny to me. Last but not least, this is just in season 1, when we found out that Alice was going to be going back in time, we had talked about how, kind of strange that like Kat hasn't really put it together that her friend from teenage years is her daughter. Like you would remember,
you would
but
think.
Maybe not. You're teenage, you forget things. And my problem with going to 2007 is now Kat is in her mid-20s. And in your mid-20s, like if you were to see a friend from childhood and you see that person, that's now I see you.
Yes,
I see you
yes.
now. And there's not like you would remember, right? That Kat, that like, hey, I remember you. You're my friend. Like, you know what I'm saying, Ryan?
Well, yes, but didn't they do that thing at the beginning of the season where they said they had no more memory of me? They're saying that Alice is changing things because they said that Kat had no memories of her past 2002. So I think we're supposed to think that we're somewhat changing the timeline when she does this. At least that's how I recall.
Oh, gosh. If they're changing the timeline, we have all kinds of problems.
But do you guys remember that conversation from episode 1 or 2?
Several times do they say that basically...
I never saw Alice
but
again.
But remember, Elliot, we find out he's saying that because he doesn't want her to travel again.
Yeah, he was lying.
And so he's saying... You promised me you won't travel again. Okay. And then she keeps doing it and he gets mad at her. And then he's finally like, you know what? You're going to be there anyway. Yeah. So I don't think it was a changing the timeline thing as much as it was, can we try to stop her from going back and seeing this?
But sorry, I don't think I made my point clear, Ryan. My point is at a certain point, as Alice is getting older, you're like, hey, oh my gosh, my daughter looks a lot like my friend.
Yes.
If it's a teenage friend, I can maybe see you not putting that together. But you saw her in your mid-20s. I do think like at a certain point when Alice is getting old enough, you would be like, oh my gosh, what is
If we're to believe these characters are not 40 yet, adult Kat is not 40 yet because they didn't graduate until after 2002. Right? I'm class of 01 and I'm 40.
Okay.
So that means at 24, you would have seen someone and then your daughter becomes that person within the next 15 years.
Yeah.
What you're saying is your memories, I agree with you. Your memories, you're not like, you're going to be like, something looks familiar. This looks really, and then it's going to click.
Especially if it's somebody that you had a past relationship with. So if time had passed and then you see them in your mid-20s, you're like, oh my gosh, like this person was a big part of my life.
That's right. Yeah.
Totally. It goes back to what we were talking about last week with Nick, where I think we kind of all swept this under the rug last season because we liked almost everything else. And now when you actually think about it, it's a mess. It wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Dana.
Yeah. So I just want to hammer this home one more time because I can already hear people complaining and it is, I understand that the pun takes you where you need to go. And there is no guarantee that if Dell were to jump in the pond, she would go to 1814. In fact, based upon all the evidence we have, she would go somewhere else entirely. Kat goes somewhere, Alice goes somewhere else. Dell going to the same spot that Kat is going to would be unlikely. However, it is a complete miscarriage of these characters and their love for each other, even when things look bad, to not have Kat immediately go, you need to know this right now. You need to know this right this second. There is nothing on the face of this earth more important than what I'm going to tell you right now. And the other side of that was bothersome, and this is tangentially related, is because Dell is so willing to sell the land, we have to assume that she does not know about the pond at this point, right? We had she is going to sell this land. She was going to 17 years ago. She's going to again. There is no possible explanation for Dell's character to do this twice other than Dell doesn't know about the pond. Would either of you disagree with that?
No, I at this point, I think it's inconceivable that Dell knows, and if we have problems with it on both sides, but I lean towards no.
It's really sad. It's a sad day because I think that eliminates a lot of mythology, a lot of fun you can have with maybe it would be a thing where the generations of females of this line could all try. Who knows? Or the generations of that family that aren't just Landrys, because technically I guess Dell's not a Landry. I hate it. I hate that she doesn't know about the pond. I was hopeful that she did. It also makes her character seem really dumb.
Yeah.
It makes her seem really dumb and out of the loop. Now that I know, before this moment, all of her scenes where we're not sure if she knows about the pond, I can take and go, maybe she knows. And she's letting them figure that out for themselves. And she has this sage wisdom and she's trying to play it down the middle. Now that I know she doesn't know, it makes her character really, really dumb. It makes
and it almost puts to bed the magic dirt.
Yeah.
Like if the dirt actually is real magic, you don't sell that joint, right?
Yeah. You don't sell it.
Yeah, but let's not rule that out completely.
I'm not. I listen. I'm holding on to that dirt until the very last moment.
I know you are. You're going to bring it up.
Amen.
I'm sure. Sink or swim,
brother.
you have to come. You said it before, but Elliot does, in fact, still work, and he has a planning period where he can go home and start demolition renovation. I don't even know where to start with that. There were 1 year in my teaching career where I had 4th and 5th planning back to back, and I had lunch in between those two. So that means I had about 130 minutes. I had 2 hours and 10 minutes straight where I didn't have to be teaching anyone, and my school let me.
You could go see a movie if you saw it.
If you planned it perfect, it's a really short movie, you probably could get to it. Yeah. I don't think I ever did that, but I did go places. Like I would go home, knowing that they live in a much more rural community.
We'd go play.
Yeah, we
would go play.
You and I did go putt-putt during school one time.
That's true.
We did.
Ooh.
We went to Frankie's Fun Park and we did go putt-putt.
We'd go play.
That is true. That happened.
If it works, it works.
On school hours. We're contracted.
Brand, did you have 2 free periods?
No, but I do think one of my planning periods just kind of lined up.
Or some kids were on a field trip.
Yeah, something happened.
Something happened where he had the same break I did, and we did go play.
Great.
Yes, but I would travel 20, 30 minutes to go eat a meal somewhere like that I wouldn't be able to go to. Yeah. Like I get that. But this is a long trip because they say how early they have to leave in the morning constantly. He's going to go all the way back from school, and in his time.
Well, and I think he bikes. I think he bikes to school.
And he's going to start in on Sledgehammer and I know Nick's the one saying that, but he's like, I'm going to start making this. It just seems like that. It's inconvenient.
Granted, it is clear that they did not start the
That's true.
But even if the wall's still there later.
Yeah, but even if he was just going home to make a ham sandwich, he still has to bike back.
A ham sandwich,
yeah.
2 more. One, Monica, a character we did not mention by name yet. That is Nick's girlfriend in 2007, and they start hanging out again in present day. We find out the reason everyone knows about this party in 2007 is because of Facebook. Great. That's really good writing. It makes sense at the time. Kat thinks it was something with her notification settings, and people find out by accident. And because of that, then Brody, is that his name?
Brady?
Brady finds out on Facebook and then makes his way up to Canada. We find out in 2024. Monica just pipes up and says, hey, I want to let you know it was me. I'm sorry that I shared your thing, your invite with everybody. Of all the things in the episode that people are egregiously mad about that they can't fix, this one, the thing that really Kat should be mad about, like this changed the trajectory of her life forever. Literally, if Monica doesn't share that, Brady doesn't see it, the house isn't a mess, who knows, maybe Kat and Elliot fall in love. Literally, this thing, she's like, oh, no big deal. I wrapped my brain about it for years, but water under the bridge. She doesn't even, there's nothing
a Muse dance battle can't
fix.
They
just go right into dance battle. Of all the things to actually be mad at, this is number 1 on the list. And she doesn't care. She doesn't care at all. It's no big deal. She briefly is like, I can't believe it. And then she's over it. Couldn't believe it. And lastly, I hate to mention this because it is unfortunate. If they had just done a little bit of simple math, everything could have been fixed. But in the year of our Lord 2024, Dell looks at Alice and says, the party in 2007 is the reason your mom and I didn't speak for 17 years. I'm sorry. You have spoken over the last year. So the number we're looking for is 16. That's the number we're looking for, is you didn't speak for 16 years. Halloween of 07 to end of school year May of 2023 is about 15 3/4 years. That's how long that is. It's not 17 years. I know it's a throwaway line. Come on, just a little bit. Just a little bit better. Just all we need is a little bit better. Rye, do you have thoughts there?
I'm also, the show might still be in 2023 if you really think about it. That's even worse.
That makes it worse. That makes it
that makes it even
100% worse.
Yeah.
And it might be.
No, I don't think it can be.
Well, because they did a full school year.
We did a full school year.
So it had to maybe start in 2022. The show was filmed in 2022. So it's,
yeah, because it's only the fall now.
That's right. So it actually is the fall of 23 right now.
Yeah,
and it was 22. So that's even worse. That's even worse dialogue at that point. That's now real bad. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bring it up. It seems like we're kicking you while you're down, but that's not good.
I do think regardless of what year it is a valid point. Like it's possible. Like I'm sure they've mentioned the actual year at some point, but either way, she's wrong.
Can't be 17 years.
Yeah, either way.
17 plus 7 is 24. I know that. That is airtight.
Unless we're in the future. Unless the show takes place in, what would it be? 20.
Air is the water
26?
of the globe. Yeah.
Thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's time for Sink or Swim.
Oh, swim.
So we talk about the things that are sinking, the things that are swimming, and everything in between. Ryan, take it away. You get this better than anybody.
Thank you. Kat being surprised that Elliot was still into her when Nick tells her he came back for you, and she's like, what? And then she's mad at him before they kiss the big ones, and she's like, what? You don't ever tell him. And like, come on, like Kat, like this dude's been like worshiping the ground you walk on for like 20. Like what surprise there is, but then also like even before Nick comes out with the journal and the address that is a paragraph long that he needed to write down, like. This is like, can we just call it? Like, this is a pretty toxic dynamic. These two should just call it quits. I don't even think they should be friends. I just don't think it's going to work.
Agree. Ellie and Kat should not have a relationship or be friends. What do you think?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think that it's fine if she like, if you want to be mad, he never said anything. Like say your feelings. Like, be a man and communicate. I'm fine with that. But to act like there's some sort of like subtext and he really doesn't like her.
Right.
What are you, 10? That was weird to me.
Totally agreed. Yeah. So I just thought that was like, it's time. You know what? You know, we fought in front of the band rehearsing at the Autumn Fest. It's over. It's over. It's over.
Yeah. I got two really quickly. One, I do think that this particular episode and what happened in 07 does put unless there's stuff that happened between 01 and 07 or whatever the last time, I do think that this puts to death any potential Alice Elliott relationship that I talked about earlier in the year. Remember the beach conversation?
Yes.
I think that ship has sailed.
Yes.
Maybe I misread some mess. Yeah,
No,
it's possible. I misread some things.
Wrong here.
But that's why we have this segment. I swam that, and now I'm sinking it. I think that time is past.
Swim to sink.
My other sink is the fact that we spent 5 minutes in 1814 in this episode was great. Obviously, had a blast not being there. It does concern me that we now only have 2 episodes left in the season, and I don't know if that's enough time to put that to bed.
You and I both know there's an 1814 heavy episode coming up.
Okay.
And it's called episode 9.
All my only thing is I am praying to the good Lord that when we get to season 3, we never go back to 1814. And I'm concerned that with only spending 5 minutes there this episode, that may push that may push them to do some 1814 stuff in season 3, and that is a terrifying thought. So it's all going to depend on what happens in 9 and 10, but I'm just concerned that we didn't do enough in this episode to allow whatever is going to happen with Jacob. Is it possible that doesn't all get resolved in this season? I don't know. I'm nervous. That's all I'm going to say.
Bran, even if it was the original plan, I don't think there's any way they watch the season back and say we need more 18. Like
I know. Listen, I know about. I'm just saying is all. That was my only concern is we didn't spend enough time there this week.
Your only concern.
That's it. No other concern. Aside from that, we're back, baby.
We're back, baby.
I think the worst case scenario, if it somehow was already baked into season 3, that they would course correct in the season 3 premiere and we'd never be back.
Can I ask you guys this? Because what I do want to just remind people, what happened here is Kat had a conversation with her brother for the first time in however many years.
Yes, and then immediately said, "I've got to get going."
Got to get going, and then she partied with her friends.
Yeah.
Instead of just going immediately back.
You love the episode.
I did. I love the episode. So no notes. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned that it's just not like, what if she just never went back, would anyone be mad? Like if we just never touched a Jacob thing again? If she was just like, you know what, I think it's pretty happy there. I'm just going to.
Great.
Would we? Yeah. I think I'd be fine. I think I'd be fine.
One more conversation of Jacob saying like, this is who I am now, and I would be good. I think that would be all.
How do you think it ends up though? Do you think? Let's just do it. Do you think he's coming home?
Yes.
He's going to hug Del. He's coming home.
Del and Jacob will share an embrace. No doubt about it.
How about this? If they don't do that, and then he didn't have an embrace with Kat, and we joined their first conversation mid-conversation, then this was just a total roof. They never cared about Jacob.
What if the embrace happens in 1814? What if Kat finally tells Del about time travel and says, I can get you back there? Because what if he can't?
Dude, I love it.
So what if that's the way it happens?
I love that.
I don't know if that salvages what we've had
at some point. But at some point, she has to tell Del, right?
But
she has to tell Del.
You would think so.
And you would think that it would already have happened. This episode had a perfect opportunity for it. But nevertheless, it has to happen. And so I think the logical thing would be hey, I have found Jacob.
Yes.
Let me show you.
That's right.
We go to the pond, we jump in, and then the pond can take it from there.
Yes. But the opportunity for her to tell her is literally every second she's breathing.
Of course.
That's when it is.
Yes.
I would love that's just a better show than this, but Del going back. And because Jacob has trauma of like, I wonder what happened to mom. Like I left, like, kids don't think through. You can tell kids over and over again that you love them no matter what. It's unconditional. But kids in their head think that they have a standard to live up to, even if you tell them otherwise. There's something in Jacob's psyche that's like, I let my parents down. There is something there. And for her to get to go back on his terms and go, you live your life. You found the love of your life. And
that's great. That would be a great ending of the season.
God.
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I am the next episode's called Here Without You, so another chance to not
Here Without You, baby!
Yeah, I mean, come on, 3 Doors Down. I'm looking forward to an episode in season 3 called Bye Bye Bye, where they don't play that song and to listen to Ryan.
Man, dude, if this show wants me more out than I already am.
I am swimming on one thing, and it's a very hesitant swim because it's really more of like
swim to you.
I don't swim to you.
It's a doggy paddle. Yeah.
What could they possibly do of any importance with Nick finding this time travel? Like I'm asking a serious question. Like, remember all the fun theories we had about Jacob and the pond and the Landrys? And do you remember how we felt when we actually got answers? Mixed bag, right? What could they do with Nick? What? Like, I'm sure it's something, but like realistically, Nick's going to do this, going to realize Alice is the same person. Right. And then is he going to become a villain? Is he going to be able to jump in the pond? Like,
I don't know.
What are they going to do there? Like, I guess, this show has made me think about Lost a lot. And I think the beauty of Lost is while it does lose its way a little bit from time to time, the theories we were coming up with didn't even match how good the answers ended up being. Spoiler alert if you've not seen Lost. Now's a chance to hit mute on your podcast app or on Philo. You've not seen it?
No, I'm a big
Okay,
fan.
I was about to say, like, if you had told me in season 1, like, John Locke is the smoke monster, I'd have been like, boom. I'd have just been like, what? Are you kidding me?
No one had
right?
that. Yeah.
Like, flash forwards are coming. Boom. Purgatory that you thought was at the beginning, that's at the end. If you had told me those things in season 1, I'm like, better than my wildest imaginations. That's what makes Lost a great show. This season is doing the opposite for Way Home. All of those fun things we had in our head are we're just deflating every balloon. We're just going around with a pen just popping balloons. That's all we're doing. And so Nick having the journal, I don't know if I care. What could they do? I don't know.
How old is Alice in present day?
17?
17 or 18. It depends on when her birthday. We don't even know what year.
Yeah,
it is.
we don't know.
know.
It's just a bad question to ask it for us.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if he finds out and he sits on that piece of information until he's 18 and then he's like, now it's fair game.
Oh.
Like, obviously really creepy, really weird.
For you to even say that makes me want to call the police. I don't even know how to, like, that is, wolf.
What? It's weird no matter what.
It is weird.
It's a weird
no
thing.
matter what. Yeah.
It's all strange no matter what.
We were talking about how strange it was that she knows in her head, hey, I'm kissing somebody who back in my time is a grown person, and it didn't stop her.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much they're gonna play with that because it's weird, it's icky, it's gross. But if it really was his first love, the one that got away, I don't know what other point there is in him knowing aside from finally putting that connection that my first love is right here in front of me.
Well, to that exact point, and Dan, to emphasize what you just said, it's just like, when's he going to call the cops on Elliot for time travel? Like, you know, it's like, it's not like it's like a crime procedural and it's like, oh man, we found out the big secret about the murder. Like, you know, it's like, there's really nothing for him to do. He's going to tell the leader of the White Witch tour. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
and there's NBC did a show called Timeless a few years ago where there's these like historians going back to make sure events happen. And there's a bad guy who has a better time machine who's always like a step ahead of him. And like, or like, it's literally like, they did something similar in The Flash, but like if you make Nick this guy who's like, I've got to retcon this whole thing so that Alice stays in 2002 with me because that was the love of my life. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I don't think this show has that in the tank. Also because we've already established you can't change time. That's the other problem is he can't be a villain because all he's going to do is what should have happened anyway.
Right. Also, no offense to the character of Nick, but like Elliot could be a villain because we've already established him as a mastermind. Correct. Nick is like a subpar guitar player.
He's a meathead. Yeah, he's not. He's trying to sledgehammer a wall down there.
We are inching closer to Elliot and Nick working together to just kidnap the Landry girls and like hold them. Like we're getting close there, guys.
All right, that is the best version of this show, though. From a standpoint of like
season 3, kidnap the Landry
dudes,
girls.
Man,
they team up together to be villains. They never get they're literally currently bonding about like not getting the girl they want. Like that's their bonding thing right now. I don't know. We're getting close. Wow, we went over an hour on a single episode of television.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. But we're back. That's what I'm saying.
Baby.
We're back, baby.
We're going to be back next week.
Carol, we're back.
2 more episodes left, everybody. 2 more episodes left of season 2. Very excited to see what happens. Until next time, may we the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
The Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.